hello, and I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. I just wanted to hop on for a little bit and say hello and check in with you guys, let you have a little bit of a travel update, a little bit of a video update, and to let you guys know that I am okay. I had several people who were asking, why was there not a video? Are you okay? Yes, I am fine. This is a flex day. So I'm going to let the room fill in just a little bit and I'll explain what a flex day is, and then also that I don't take these very often, but when I do, there is definitely a reason for it. So basically, hello. Again, I'm just going to let the room fill in for just a couple minutes real quick, and then I'll explain why there was no video today and when you can expect to see the next video and kind of what's going on. I wanted to do this earlier in the day simply because a lot of people are coming to my channel and looking and saying, oh no, there's no video. Is she okay? Is she okay? I have received probably 20 emails about this actually. So yeah, I'm okay, guys. I am okay, I promise. Today I just needed the day to work on some things, and I finished up a project that's going to be on my next upload, but it involved another project, so I couldn't finish the video until the other project was finished. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand relationship when it comes to videos sometimes. Trying to get everything in order so that I can get back on the road. I am leaving out for Arizona sometime within the next couple days. So it's been a lot. It has been a lot. So I thought, what better thing to do than to have a little Starbucks chit chat with you guys while I was running errands in a kind of city that's about an hour away. I needed a couple of things that I could not get in my local town, and I didn't think that I would be able to get things from Amazon in time before my departure date. Let's see. It says here, Flex Day, yay! Yes! People need to understand you also have a life outside of YouTube. I know. It's one of those things that I think, though, that more so than anything, people were concerned that I wasn't okay because I do upload so regularly. And so today not having one, people were like, uh-oh, what happened? Occasionally there's going to be a day where I can't get a video uploaded, not because I don't want to, but because of, again, videos kind of working hand in hand with another. But sometimes also whenever I go a little bit later this year to certain areas, even with a booster, I don't know that I'll be able to upload as I would like to, so I'm gonna have to like maximize on the times when I can. So what I'll probably do is film and then upload and then schedule things out, kind of like I do most of the time anyway. But so there'll be a little bit of a weird delay. So if I hop on and do have signal and I'm doing a live, people will be like, "You're there?" But that's okay. I want to make sure that I kind of streamline the efficiency of doing things on the channel. So that's kind of what I've been working on. I'm going to try something to see if this will work. I don't think it will, but I think maybe we're going to try to use the magnet mount, but like in the landscape. If you watch the video that I put out, you already know that this, because the weight of the phone is a little weird, it's gonna do the sliding thing. It's okay. It works super well in portrait, but landscape is just not what it's designed for. So it's okay. But yeah, so I wanted to again hop on and tell you guys those things. Also what I've been picking up and things like that. All the stuff's in the back. I needed some new GoPro batteries, so I picked up some new GoPro batteries and a new charger so I can be more efficient while I'm traveling and shooting content. I'm super happy about that. I also picked up some new slides for anyone who hasn't heard me rant about my slides. I really enjoy Nike slides. They're the only slides that I enjoy wearing, and I like them because I can just throw them on and I drive in them a lot of times. But I had a pair that was black, and I've had them for years, and they finally like started coming apart at the seams, so I needed to replace them because I do travel with those. They're a necessity item for me because again, I drive in those shoes. I also wear them after long hikes because they're just more comfortable, and I like them because I can just slip them on and go. My sandals that I have that are designed for my water shoes, I have to strap them on and go, and they're not quite the same feel. So I know it's excessive probably to a lot of people, but coming from having a shoe closet the size of an entire room, down to prioritizing a couple pairs of shoes. I think that's a win still. Let's see. It's a lot harder work to have regular scheduled content on YouTube. I struggle. Yes, it's one of those things. I have a really good flow and a really good rhythm, but coming back to Basecamp, my rhythm changes a bit because I am working on projects that are very, very different. And when you all do see the video that will be coming out, I'm hoping tomorrow. I'm hoping to finish up the video this evening. I think you'll see why it took me a little bit more. This is not a small project. It was a pretty in-depth project, and the corresponding video that will follow will show you the other part of why it took me longer to film, because it wasn't just like a one day easy kind of thing. It was like a lot of extra. So what's behind the curtain is soon to be seen. uh, but it is going to help a lot, especially considering that my world is pretty much planned out for a couple months now. Let me go over that in just a second, though. We'll get back to what all has been going on with planning things. Anyone who has been to my channel before knows that typically whenever I plan adventures, what I do, and I've talked about this kind of in passing, is that I pick a location and then I kind of just go in that direction and hope that I have all these cool things to do along the way. But also, I have an ongoing bucket list. So as I kind of go in that direction, I look at my bucket list of things and I just see if they might be something that I could do while I'm in the area. So typically, whenever I'm planning a lot of travel, I have an overall destination that I'm very intrigued by, that I'm like, I want to go there. And then it kind of fills in its way as I go. And I may have like one or two major destinations that I want to see within a calendar year. Everything else just kind of is like let's ebb and flow and go with it. This year, a little different. A little different. It started out with I spent the greater portion of January and February and March in the desert. So whenever I was there, I had planned on being at the RTRWRTR in Quartzsite, and then I'd also planned on going to Schoolypalooza. Those were my two big events that I thought I was going to do at the first part of the year, and everything else was just bonus. And I had a blast. I went to, of course, Vegas, and I went to LA, and we went to Disney, and it was super, super fun. And then I came back through and kind of wound my way back toward base camp. My goal was originally to go to Missouri next. Plans changed. Riley mentioned that there was the Weird Wild West event in Bisbee, Arizona, so I decided, okay, I'm going to go. I like this event. It looked really cool. And then I found out also that Mountain House, who I am an ambassador for, is also going to be there. So I definitely wanted to go and touch base with them. I just thought it would be a very positive thing so that I could show you guys a little bit more of the brand that I love already. So that was kind of my thoughts on that. So what thought was going to go north is going south again. I didn't want to stay in the desert all year, though. Obviously, it's about to get like super hot. So I decided that my next plan was going to be after the desert, then to go to Missouri. That was the plan. Lady Bugout asked me if I was going to be going to the Gutted premiere, which they're doing a big premiere event, super cool. And I was like, hey, yeah, I kind of would like to go to that. So now I'm going to be going to that. So I'm going to leave Arizona and I'm going to go to north to Missouri/Kansas. That's the plan as of right now. I'm going to go to the Gutted premiere event, do a lot of other things, and then that's when it gets real wild. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let me catch up on some of these comments now. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for the $2. I love that. It's like a little. Is it a corgi or is it a fox? Is it a corgi or a fox? Either one of them, super super cute. Let's see. Charlie just left Arizona, back in Tennessee. Nice. Okay, so did you get there in time for the snow that happened again? Or are you just there for the tornadoes? I feel like more and more frequently I am talking to you guys about bad weather, but this year has been weird. Let's see. Explore with Penny. Kay's beautiful struggle. I do it too. A lot of work. It is a lot of work to do YouTube. A lot of times, whenever you see a finished, polished video, people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice. I love that." It can't be that hard. And then you after you start doing YouTube and you start understanding the mechanics behind putting the video in, you're like, wow, they did so much. For example, I've used this as an example before, but SUVRVing, I love Tristan's content. He shoots beautiful places and he puts in a lot of work to do that. Anytime you watch a YouTuber who shows you that they are scaling a mountain or hiking in front of you or like crawling up something, they have to place the camera where you're seeing the angle from. They have to go do the activity, come back down from doing the activity, pick up the camera, and then go on to the next activity. So there's like 5 steps in every single shot when you're seeing those super cool shots. So I always respect that. And again, until you do something like that, you don't think in that particular manner. So whenever I'm out shooting and stuff, I'm just kind of like always looking to do something kind of different and fun. And so I'm challenging myself constantly in ways I never thought that I would. I think that that's really cool though. Let's see. You came back just in time for the latest Twisters. Yay! I mean, I think that that's like, okay, for an example, in Texas, it was 98 degrees the other day. It is April. Like, what? This is going to be a weird year. I mean, it just really is. I do not understand it. I feel as though it's just going to continue to get more and more progressively weird as the years kind of pass on. So I'm just crossing my fingers that where I have elected to go on the second part of my adventures this year won't be bad. Those camera angles get me every time. Absolutely. I think that that's the thing. Like, in order to shoot a video that you can actually look on at and be like, I really like that video, I'm proud of that video, you have to put in a lot of like time and effort to creatively like present things. And I love that part of the process, but it also is one of those things that I'm super happy that I figured out in life that I didn't need to just speed through. I need to take my time when I'm doing those things because otherwise those things don't happen if you speed through. You end up with video that is kind of disjointed or video that's not genuine. So I think that it's important to say, hey, I have time. Let me just take my time. Let me do it. And at the end of the day, it's more enjoyable also to the audience, especially if you compare it with the right music. Says here, let's see. Hi from Florida. How many sunglasses do I own? It seems like you own a bunch. I do own a bunch. They are my luxury item that I carry with me because they stow away in such a small space. Um, Anyone who has known me from the past, before I started YouTube, would tell you that I have 4 million pairs of shoes because shoes were my thing. I love shoes so much. In fact, if you are on my Patreon, you can go and check out. I posted 2 Blast from the Past posts over there, so you can see what I looked like whenever I was all the time dolled up every day, and then also some of my fun shoes. But I love shoes. And I love bright colors and I like bold things. Shoes are not a practical thing to cart around with me in my van. And on top of that, a lot of the things that I would wear would not be in the adventure realm. I wore really tall, cute shoes, really big heels, and really spiky heels. So instead of doing that, I was like, I want to do something that still expresses who I am as a person. I want to show off my personality through one piece of something that is something that I do every day. And I love bright colored leggings and I love crazy shades. And both of them have a perfect place in my van because, again, you have to wear pants so I can clearly make room for pants. And leggings fold down much smaller than like denim, so I can have a lot of them. And then sunglasses also. So those are my like fun things that I always have. And I'm working on the Q&A right now where I actually count out the sunglasses so I'll actually know how many pairs I have. Let's see. Thank you for going the extra mile. Oh, no problem. Like, it really does make me happy. That's the thing. Like, when I started out doing YouTube, I wanted to share the cool stuff that's out there and inspire others to get out there and know that you don't have to have the biggest budget, just some really cool things. And I have since expanded on that even more and found that I truly enjoy creating the content, not only going to the adventure to share, but the actual back end stuff that you guys will never see because I'm just like sitting behind a computer going do 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 do. That stuff actually really brings me a lot of happiness while I'm doing it. It's just this moment where Yes, I am highly critical of myself because I have to watch myself so much. But at the same time, whenever I can find something that brings it all together and shares the message of what it is that I went to go and see with you guys, and then I get to put cool music with it, I'm just like sitting there watching and going, oh, I like this. Okay, this makes it, yes, it's almost like I was there again. And so it's a way for me to revisit the places that I have been, but also to share them with you guys for the first time. Let's see. The comments are just doing some weird stuff today. YouTube has been strange. By the way, if for some reason you comment on my channel and you do not see your comment, I am not removing comments unless they have the normal things, profanity or conversation that isn't to be had on my channel. Those subject matters that I typically don't allow on my channel all have already been blocked in the comment words. I just don't want people to feel as though it's okay to criticize one another in the comments. This is a safe place for everyone who wants to watch the content, so we don't do those things. Those are the only things I physically remove. However, I had 2 or 3 people asking me as of late, why are my comments not popping up? Did I get blocked? No, you haven't. YouTube's doing some weird stuff right now. I noticed on a few other channels that I watch that are having kind of a similar thing where their comment count doesn't add up to the amount of comments that are in their comment section, and it's because YouTube isn't showing them all for some reason. So I'm really sorry, and I have already kind of like looked in the Creator Studio to see if there's anything that can be like done about that, and there's not right now. So I have put in like a request. Hey, I don't know if I'll ever hear from them. I'm not a big enough channel for them to like hop up and be like, yay, let's fix this problem. So I'm hoping that a bigger creator also has had this problem so that it'll get fixed soon. Let's see. Let's see. What is my favorite GPS app? Well, so about that. I use several different apps at any given time. I usually use Google for just regular things. However, I have found that Google struggles a bit more in larger cities, in which case I will go and I will use Waze for my navigation. Waze is a little bit better when it comes to in-city navigation. Also, it gives you alternative routes. So that's not a full-on just like regular GPS, like to get the best overall, but it's a really good one. And also I like it that you can set the voices to different things. So I can have like a British person telling me how to turn to the right, and they have a little bit of a sense of humor also if you get certain voices. For example, if this is a fun one, if I were in say LA, because LA's got crazy traffic. If I was in LA and I am on Waze and I have it set to some of the voices, if we're sitting for too long, it'll just randomly go bored, or it'll tell you that there's a road hazard and it'll be like, road hazard ahead. You might want to change lanes. Are you buckled up? It's just like random stuff. And it changes pretty frequently, so it's never the same. Oh, thank you so much, Roxanne, for swinging by while you had a chance, though. I know it's a weird time. I am going to post this on the replay, though. So, yeah, I would suggest Waze and Google Maps. Google Maps is pretty good with most everything else. Not to mention, the part of Google Maps that I really like is that you can download the offline map, and then you can still navigate using it. So that's a big, huge thing. Okay, I'm gonna try to catch up because I am so far behind. Hello, hello, hello. I'm saying hello to everyone because there are several of you that I have missed. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to do any meetups this spring or summer. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of going to regular events right now, and then if people want to meet me, I will be at those regular events. I haven't planned anything like as a personal meetup or anything because I don't honestly know other than the big things that are on my calendar as to where I will be. Let's see. What kind of tree is in front of me? I have no idea what. Oh, that there's a telephone post like right here. But there's really not any trees. Let's see. I love the little cooker and the big cooker too, but I need something in the United States. I understand. I've tried several. I can't find anything that is quite the same as the Ridge Monkey. I have used several of the different sandwich presses, and one of the things that I have found about them is a lot of them are designed for just a sandwich. They aren't designed to create much more inside of them. They're very small. They don't close fully, so it's harder to do things that might be a little bit more juicy. And so it doesn't quite work out the same, even within the sandwich presses. So one of the things that I noticed was like my Ridge Monkey, the size of the pan, how it comes up, is big enough that I could put like tamales in it, or I could put cake mix in it and make cakes and things like that. But the other sandwich presses that I've tried, they start bubbling out at the edges. So it makes it a little bit harder. So I haven't found a good option yet, but I am still on the look because I have lots of people ask me. Let's see. Currently trying to find ways to make money on the road. Do I have any suggestions for making money or any videos regarding this? Okay, so one of the things that I suggest is definitely to look into travel related jobs. They have a lot of different kinds of things that work in like hospitality and stuff. So you could sit for a small amount of time, work, and then be able to travel more. There is a place, what is it called? My brain just glitched out today because I hadn't eaten and I only have coffee right now. There is a place, and I will try to just do a video about this very soon because lots of people ask me about this. There's a place that actually you can fill in for all of those kind of jobs and then pick like what kind of state that you're interested in being in, and it centralizes them kind of. So I'll put together a video of that very soon actually, and I'll talk to some of the other people that I know and ask them what their suggestions are as well, because what I do personally is something that is very much so just like on brand with what it is that I do, and I happened upon it as a result of a friend who worked in the industry also. So I think that that's the thing, is like finding something. And so I will talk to more people. I will get back to you on that, I promise. Let's see. Hi from Baltimore. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Way to go. Hashtag girls with sunglasses. Yes. Why is YouTube so crazy now? I have no idea. YouTube has just been, they've been doing a lot of different updates, and part of them are very, very good updates. For example, on the Creator Studio, which is the side that I can see on the back end, they have like a research tool and things like that. They're trying to bring people off of third-party apps so that they can do all of their business within the platform in a more streamlined way, and I really appreciate that. Also, they have put in some new things with like the monetization. For example, with the war going on, they are not monetizing videos which condone violence. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, because there's a lot of people who come on, and whether they believe or disbelieve what's going on, there's just a lot of this going on that should not be when it comes to something as serious as war, especially whenever like there are people who are just like, I'm just using this. There are people who are like me. They have no knowledge or expertise whatsoever, and they're giving an opinion as though they do. And so, because of that, it's bad because they're condoning violence. So they're working on those kinds of things. They're also working on different kinds of like back end stuff that are helping you to understand who's watching your videos and all that kind of stuff. On the other hand, though, for the user experience, I've noticed that they've started adding in like mixes and things that you might be watching, and it's bringing up some of the old videos, but it's also bringing up videos you may have already watched, and so that's not good. And then the comment thing is kind of iffy also. So I'm hoping that they get it all ironed out soon, because it is inconvenient for everyone, and I really know that by being a person who also watches YouTube, not just a person who is on YouTube, it's frustrating. This chat is a two-hand situation, guys. How much is gas in the state you're in? I'm in Wisconsin, $4.99. Wow, that is high. So in Texas, it is about $3.64 is where I got gas yesterday. So it's not that bad. I know that saying $3.64 is bad in itself, but it's not that bad in comparison to what it was going to be. I have noticed gas has actually come down here a couple of times. So I'm hoping that it continues to do that just a little bit more. They did see, I watch the news every so often. It's really depressing, so I try not to like dive in as much because it just gives you a headache. But I did notice that they had mentioned that they were going to be trying to take away the 10 cents for some kind of extra thing that they tack onto our gas. So I'm hoping that by them doing that, it'll continue to trickle down a little bit lower. But Texas is 364, 399 in some places that are high right now. So that's not terrible. And again, I'm very fuel efficient in my van, so that really does help. If you ever come to Wisconsin, I know you would love the House on the Rock. I want to go there. It's been on my list. I've seen several people who have gone there, and I'm just like, ooh, I need to go. So I'm not sure if it will be in my cards for this year, but I'm going to try so hard to get there because I've been wanting to go there for like years now. I'm having problems getting notifications. Sometimes it lets me know after the live is done or hours later. That is another one of the issues. That is another glitch. I'm not sure. And then also on some people, they were saying that they no longer have the bell even checked. I noticed that happened to me on one of the channels that I watch. I was just never getting their videos ever. And so I was like, okay, did I by accident unclick them? I'm confused. So I went over to their channel and I'm still subscribed to them, but I am no longer receiving notifications and my bell was no longer checked on their channel. And so I was like, okay, because I know that I didn't unclick their bell. So I think that that's just the growing pains of YouTube trying to figure everything out. So I'm hoping, again, crossing fingers, that they get it done soon. Just because it's really inconvenient. I mean, a lot of people like really can't find people that they enjoy watching. Like that's bad. That's super bad, especially considering that they're trying to work toward making it easier for people to find stuff. So we'll see. I told the Lost Renegades whenever I first met them, I had never ever in the history of their channel ever been suggested their channel, despite the fact that we both do van content. We both look up similar things, and I was just like, I have no idea. I did not know you, and now I'm glad that I do, because not only do I know you, but now I actually get to see your channel. And there's been a couple of other creators who it's been the same thing. Whenever I met Maddie Van Halen, it was kind of the same thing. I had heard his name before, but I'd never been served his content, and I don't know why. Let's see. 380 for regular gas in your part of Wisconsin. See, I think it's trying to dip. It really is. What's the time at my place right now? It is. Wait, this is wrong. It is 12:33 right now. I'm in Central Time. I need to reset my van clock. I just haven't yet. I want to ask, where will you go in the summer months? So I was about to get to that part. Whenever I'm traveling this summer, again, I've never traveled where I've had like a definite purpose that I had to go someplace like consistently. So again, we're going to Bisbee. We're going to be going to the Gutted premiere. After that, I'm going to be dipping back to base camp, and then I am going to be in June going to Colorado. My hope is to, and I'm still working out the details on this, but I may be going with Mountain House to the GoPro games. If I am, it'll be super fun. I am super psyched about this because one, it looks fascinating. Two, I love GoPro. I use GoPro for everything, so of course. I'm really intrigued to see like the displays of the new cool stuff and be able to also hang out with the people that are with the Mountain House group, which I think would be super fun also. But also, that'll put me back in Colorado, which will be a little bit cooler. So that'll be nice. After that, I'll be dipping back to base camp again because my parents' anniversary is in July and they like to go places for their anniversary, of course. So I am going to come back to base camp. I'll be here for a couple weeks. And then after that, I'm going to be departing once again. I'm going to be going up to the Pacific Northwest. Now, in a perfect world, the Pacific Northwest will be cooler. However, last year, the Pacific Northwest was not cooler in a lot of those places. So I'm hoping that whenever I go up there, it is in fact not another one of those record-setting heat years, and that I can just like chill out and do some things up there. I have an event that I'm supposed to go to in July, again with Mountain House. Super, super excited about that one. It looks like it's in a perfect location. It's going to be in the Bend area, and so, so excited. Then I think I'm just going to take some time up there. I haven't been up there since I've had my van. I went up there last whenever I was in my car. So I am super, super excited to explore a little bit in the Pacific Northwest area in Dimples here. So that will be super fun. I don't know how long I'll be up there, but my next set of plans will for sure be in October. And in October, I'm going to be going to Gutted again. I'm probably going to go to Vanarchy as well, but I haven't yet fully committed to Vanarchy because I have a lot of things going on at that exact time, so I have to make sure it lines up. But those are my basic travel plans. So back to the desert, to the Midwest, to Colorado, and then to the Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of what I've been prepping my van for, getting it all ready for all those kind of crazy things, and just to be able to get out there and have a good time and not stress out about projects on the van. Trying to get a little bit more durability back there. Addressing some of the things that I had long time concern with that are just like little things, but now are efficient. And then also just kind of trying to decompress a little bit before I hit the road. I think that anytime I come back to base camp, I'm doing so many things. It's basically like the equivalent of what would happen if you turned the ceiling fan on high and then had something just swinging from it. That's how I feel. It's like, ah! So I just want to just get on the road. After I get on the road, everything's just like at a very calm, chill pace. Let's see. Good to hear you're having a good day. Yes, I hope everyone is. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. I'm not sure how it is everywhere else. In my van, it is currently 80 degrees according to my thermometer, so it's probably like 80, 81 outside, no problem. Little bit of a breeze, and can't beat it. I have a Starbucks, so I'm good today. I'm good. I haven't actually had a Starbucks the entire time I've been at base camp, which is crazy. But I have a Keurig, so it makes sense as to why I didn't need Starbucks. Speaking of which, somebody asked me the other day if I would consider getting a Keurig for my van. I don't know that I would ever do that. I don't know that I wouldn't do that. I would have to do a power test to see how much power that it would actually take to run the Keurig. And then also I'd have to figure out how to secure it so that the water didn't splash out and so I wasn't always having to like go and get new water, and it just seems like a lot of steps. So currently the answer is no. I'll stick with my little coffee tea bags. Those seem to be working pretty well for me. But yeah, I kind of do like the pods though because you can get different flavors. So that is something that has been on my mind at one point in time. Oh no! I clicked on something that was bad. I want to meet you. Where in the desert and when? Is it a meetup? I'm going to be going to the Weird Wild West. It's in Bisbee, Arizona. It's held on the 22nd, so like next week. I'm going to be driving out there. They're doing an entire event where they're doing the Weird Wild West, but at the same time, Bisbee is doing something called Alice in Bisbee Land. And that's kind of a neat thing also because a lot of the shop owners are dressing up like Alice in Wonderland characters. They're doing all of these very interesting themed events. So I just think it's fascinating. So I have to go to that. Let's see. Cold and windy in Wisconsin. Oh, that's no good. Can't wait for the upcoming videos. I am super excited about some of the places that I have planned. I'm kind of holding some of the locations themselves kind of close to the vest because I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm going," and then me not be able to go because something weird happened, because I know that it would get people excited. So I want to make sure that I'm able to go before I do that. Pour over coffee's the way to go. I tried pour over. Pour over and I were okay for a little bit. It wasn't my favorite thing though. I felt like for me, I was having more waste whenever I was doing that than just with the tea bags. But that's with me personally. Let's see. I fly into Dallas, check my mail, cannot stand more than 3 days because of the chaos. You know, chaos is a lot right now. I think that that's one of the things I like about being in a van. I can just drive away from it. And so I typically will go into a city, I'll explore a city, but I like the fact that I can get away from it also and not just be there in a routine. Let's see. Weather here feels like 34 degrees and it's windy. Oh, I'm sorry. That just does not sound appealing at all. And I think that's the weird thing is like the other night it was cold here. Like I don't understand. Again, I think the weather's just going to be like super bizarre all year long now. They have a single serve Keurig. I saw one of those and they actually had one that was like a turquoisey color, kind of like my van, and I contemplated it. I contemplated it a lot. But again, I just don't know if it's what I need to do or not. It's one of those things that I overthink things a lot of times. By the time that you see something on my channel, it has been overthunk in 50 different ways. I'm just letting you know. Is Texas a big state? Yes, Texas is actually larger than some countries. And it is one of the longest places in the country to drive through. Like literally, you drive for what feels like forever just to go through Texas. And I think what makes it even more so, one of the things that makes it like long feeling, is the fact that if you're out in West Texas especially, it's just very flat. It's very desolate. You may or may not see a town for like miles. And so as opposed to the eastern areas where there's trees and grass and maybe a little town here and there popping up, West Texas is just a vast abyss. And so if you were driving from end to end, there would be moments where you seriously contemplated, why did I do this? Like, it's that big. Let's see. I feel like I missed somebody. I'm so sorry if I did. Gas in Southern California is $5.95. So I've been watching a couple of different YouTubers. So I watched Nomadic Fanatic, and then I watched Story Chasers because or Story Chasing. Is it Story Chasing or Story Chaser? Anyway, Amber. I watched her channel, and they were both talking about the price of gas there. And I know they both have larger rigs. Now, whenever I was there, gas was high, but I didn't feel like, because of the small vehicle that I have, I didn't feel like it killed me at the gas pump. And I guess also it's part of it is based on principle as well. I know that people get very frustrated based on principle, and I do too. I do. I don't want it to seem as though I don't, or like I think that $5 isn't ridiculous, because I do think it's ridiculous. But I think that it's just that for me, whenever I get gas, if I'm in an area that I know that I can make it to another area that might be a little bit less expensive, I'll put just enough to get to that other place, and then I'll move on and I'll get the cheaper gas. And I do that a lot of times strategically. I will use Gas Buddy, and I will line up, oh, okay, so here's a gas that I need because I need gas now. And then I could make it to here, and gas is 20, 40, 60 cents cheaper. And so that's what I'll do a lot of times. I don't always just like go to the gas pump and fill up. Now, if there's nothing else that I can plan with Gas Buddy along the way, I will go ahead and fill up at the higher price point. I don't like to do that though. I would rather get the gas that I need immediately to get me to the next place without problem, and then continue to top off my tank at the other place where I get a little bit of a reprieve. I did that whenever I was in LA. I got my gas outside of LA proper so that I wouldn't be paying the LA proper price. And then whenever I was leaving, I did the same thing. I was good. I'd already got enough gas, so I filled up outside of LA proper, and it was so much better. Pour over coffee is my favorite for travel. See, a lot of people love it. Like, I know that Chantel, absolutely, that is like her go-to thing. And it works out great. For me, I think the thing is that I'm usually, whenever I'm getting my coffee, I'm about ready to hit the road and go. I don't drink coffee every morning when I'm on the road for some reason. I have no idea why. It's part of my routine, but at the same time, it's not a necessity. So there's some days where I wake up and I'm like, I need coffee today. And then there's some days when I wake up and I'm like, let's just go. And I think that if I were to be at camp intentionally for a longer amount of time, pour over coffee would be great for me. But because it takes a little bit of extra time to do it, I just don't. I think that that's what it is. It's the pace. I enjoy the slow pace more so in my evening routine than I do in my morning routine. And so I can sit for hours and just like hang out. But I have a hard time in the morning when I'm still sleepy being like, here, let me take slow. And that's again a me thing. How much is the water? I have no idea. I haven't filled up water in a while at a water thing. Have you gotten the knock on the door recently? Nope, I have not. The last time that I got an actual knock was when I was in the Pacific Northwest last time. In fact, it's the only time that I really actually got a knock. And I had pulled into a casino which had tons of reviews. By the way, this is the thing. When you use a site like, for example, iOverlander. If you use iOverlander and you're seeing that there are tons of campsites available and you go to one of those, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is an up-to-date review. I went to a casino and I was at this casino and it was outside of the Seattle area, a little ways outside. But I went to this casino, had tons of reviews from people saying, yeah, no problem, you can pull in. Just make sure that you go into the casino and get something to eat or drink. Display your thing on the dash, cool. No. I went there, it was about to rain. That's the reason why I actually stopped there. I was in my car. And that could be part of it. It could have been that I was in a car versus a larger RV of some kind. But that just also goes to show, though, that not all reviews are created the same. But I was in my car. It was pouring down rain, so that was like my one like hope for being able to stay someplace because I couldn't put out my tent. And I got a no longer, I'd been there probably 5 minutes, put my reflectix up, that was it. And I got a knock and I was like, what is this? And so I opened the little window just a little bit because I didn't know who it was. And the guy was like, you can't stay here. And I was like, okay, but I saw on the app that you guys let people stay overnight. And I went inside and I bought things. And he was like, I'm sorry, you can't stay. So I was like, okay. But he did recommend a little truck stop that was up the way. So that was really nice of him to at least have done that. But man, it's never fun to get a knock. It never is fun to get a knock. And again, I am very fortunate in that I have only had really that knock. That was the only one that was an actual, you can't stay. But at the same time, I know friends who have gotten lots of knocks. And it's at the same kinds of things where they've gone onto iOverlander, found a place, and then magically it's no longer available. And a lot of that has to do with something that I talk about a lot, people not taking care of the space. So I think that one of the things that we need to do as people who are nomads is not only read all the reviews, including the more recent ones, but we also need to, when we are there, be um, a positive ambassador of what we do. So if we go to, for example, a Walmart that does allow overnighting, don't pull out your sides. Don't get your lawn chair out. Don't cook outside your vehicle. Don't leave your trash. Don't leave your potty bottle. Don't do any of those things. And if you can, if you see something around you, pick it up. I know it sounds silly. It's a Walmart parking lot. And in a lot of people's head, they think, oh, there's somebody here who can do that. But the problem is, they don't know that that's not your trash. Like, they didn't sit there and watch you to know that you didn't put the food bag outside. Somebody else did. So if you just go ahead and pick it up, then you don't have to worry about that. A lot of the reason why Walmart specifically are stopping people from staying in them is because we aren't doing the right things. We aren't making sure that we are taking care of our business. And people are taking advantage. They're not just staying one night. They're trying to stay all the time. Or they're not cleaning up after themselves, or they are dumping their pee bottle. And that is not okay, guys. We need to do better. And if you know somebody who is doing that, you need to stop them. Somebody asked what this is. This is a caramel ribbon Frappuccino. Just wanted something that was yummy. Toyed with this for the pink drink. Thought this has a little coffee in it. This will probably do me a little bit better. Normally I would get a Starbucks sandwich too because they're so good, but just couldn't do it today, guys. Let's see. While I was on my little rant, we discussed that. Any plans to go up to Oregon? Yes, that's actually where I'm going to be in the second half of the year. So in July, I'll be in Bend, Oregon, and then after that, I'm just going to be exploring a little bit. Not sure exactly where all. I do know that I'm going to visit with Casey. If you guys watch my Schoolie Palooza series, you know, hang out with Casey. I'm also going to be going and visiting Dawn. That's where her whole life is going on right now with her job. So I'm going to go up there and visit her. I'm going to try to go and meet up with Van Life with Gina. I haven't met her before, but I've gotten to chat with her online. She's super awesome, so I'm going to go meet up with her. And then I have some family in the area, so I'm going to go see everybody, but also explore. I have a lot of exploring to do up there. There are so many cool things. And through my mom and her school, she had a little project that she was working on for her kiddos. And one of the things she did was she ordered a whole bunch of tourism information from the different states. And so she started getting in all of these ones from Washington and Oregon. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to go do all this stuff. So I have some ideas. Love the sunglasses. Thank you. I'm in Idaho right now. We'll be in Bend for the van rally. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on Descend on Bend. I'm not sure if that is when I'm there. I haven't looked into it too much because the world has just been swirling so quickly around me trying to get everything done. But if it's in August, I may still be in that area. We will see. Glad to listen in. An alternative recipe for those fraps and such. Oat milk, Pero coffee. Substitute an agave. That mix changed my life. Nice. I have a little blender, and I haven't really highlighted the blender too much on my channel. I just have it. I like it. I use it pretty frequently, but at the same time, I haven't really shown what all I do with it. So eventually, I'll have to work that into something. This is the funny thing about doing YouTube. I show you guys a lot of stuff that I do on a regular basis. However, I start thinking about it and I'm just like, I've never showed them my blender and I use it pretty frequently. That just goes to show that I don't film everything. And I'm just like, why have I not showed them the blender? Because it's cool. And a lot of people have asked me if I have something like this. And I do. And it was just super inexpensive and from like Walmart. But yeah, I can make stuff kind of like this. But a lot of times I don't, just because of the ice. And I like my little fraps to have ice. And I like to keep my fridge in fridge mode instead of ice mode. So it has to be like a conscious effort to, I'm going to go pick up ice for this. And then I only pick up a little. So I could. Let's see. Hi from SoCal. A little late to the party. It is okay. We're just sitting here chatting a little bit. I was just letting everybody know I'm okay because I didn't have a regular posted video today. I was doing some fun stuff today, though. I was going on some missions to find things. I needed some new GoPro batteries. I went to Aldi. I love Aldi so much. I picked up some little chicken feta and spinach sausages. Oh, those things are fire. I also trying out a new one, so we'll see how I like those. I didn't want to do a full grocery shop because I don't know for sure when I'm heading out yet. It's sometime within the next couple days. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to get like vegetables until I'm ready to go because I'll be tempted to use them at base camp. Do I have any habits? I have lots of habits. Do you mean hobbies? Hobbies, I draw, I doodle, I do things like that. I create pretty much everything that you guys see me do on the channel. I do it on my own time in some different kind of weird version also. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I love music. I love sports. I actually used to work in sports, but I just love sports in general. I'm fascinated by curling. That's something that if I ever get to try out, I will definitely have to make a video of because that's on my bucket list of things to do, curling. It is the silliest thing ever, probably for a bucket list, but I'm just like, I want to go curling so bad. During the Winter Olympics, I totally geek out because it's on TV and I'm like, yes! It makes no sense because it's like, curling, really? Yes, curling. Like I have to have every day, like habit. I'm confused. Like habits. So to me, a habit is something that I regularly do. Is that what you're asking? In which case, I pretty much do everything. I wake up, I edit, I work, I shoot. That's pretty much my everyday life. Like realistically, that is my everyday life. So yeah, I wake up, I figure out where I'm going. It's different depending on where I am. I shoot video, I get back to my van, I download video, I edit video. That's the main thing that I do. That is my routine every day. Chewing nails. That is a nervous thing that I do. I've always done that. I have like a weird, I do it in my sleep. I don't know. I've tried putting stuff on it. It just doesn't work. The only thing that I can do to fix it is get my nails physically done. I can keep acrylics on, but whenever I tent camped, it didn't make sense for me to have acrylics because I would constantly be breaking them. So I just gave up on it. And I haven't gone back and tried it since. I would love to though because my hands looked a lot better then. Maybe after I finish all my projects, I'll be able to treat myself a little bit. Let's see. I do not do cigarettes. I think that they're disgusting. No offense to anyone who does them. It's just a me thing. Um, it's a very distinct smell that just, it's off-putting. I had, my grandfather used to smoke, and for some reason that smell just never took with me. It just never did. Weird story about me. I thought, oh, I'm going to try to smoke a cigarette whenever I turned 18 years old, and it was terrible. And that was it. That was the end of that. Y'all so nosy. It's okay. It's okay if I don't want to answer something. I won't answer it. It's fine. I am doing a Q&A. It is not completely finished yet, so if you do have additional questions you would like to know, though, that are just kind of off, you can always go and find that on my community tab and put it on there. That way you can also get credit for it. Let's see. I twirl my hair around my finger all the time. I do weird stuff like that too. I rub my head a lot. That is one of the things that I do whenever I'm working. It's very therapeutic. Whenever you are working, if you ever get super stressed out, this is my weird tip. If you ever get super stressed out, instead of being like all over the place, rub your head. When you start to rub your head, you'll notice that it relieves tension, not only in your head, but also your entire body. It just like loosens up and is way more relaxed. So rub your head, like the sides, both sides. And then if you're really having a lot of anxiety, if you rub like right here, it really takes that down a notch and it just calms you. Guys, there's something kind of funny here, and you won't be able to see it, but there is a kid at the Starbucks who has a puppet out the window. I'm gonna try to show this to you. Hang on. Okay. Do you see this? There is a puppet out the window of the Starbucks. I have no idea of the context of this, but yeah, there's a puppet dog, and they ordered their coffee through the puppet dog. Huh. Okay. Okay. Interesting. You never know what you're gonna see when you're traveling. Oh, that was fun though. And what's even more fun is I physically have a finger puppet in my van somewhere. Here it is. Oh, so yeah, yeah. Sorry, that just gave me such a big kick right there. Let's see. Rebecca, no, I don't smoke. Um, I just got here and I'm going through a bout of anxiety. Oh my god. So my anxiety talk hit you just at the right time. Yes. Funny how the world works out. Hello from Southwest Missouri. Hello, hello, hello. And from the UK. Nice. Sweet. Lots of fun people in the house today. Considering this is such a weird timing of a live, thank you guys for coming. Hi. But yeah, I think that that's the interesting thing about this though, is we get to have all these weird conversations. Oh, okay. I see. I can't wait to meet up with all you chickadees when I go traveling and live freely. Yes. In fact, I was just talking to someone, and I don't know if she's in here, over on Instagram, and she was at an event that was in California, and she got to meet Riley the other day. So I thought that was super cool. And Riley had already told me that she had met a couple of people, and so she was like, "I think that one of them follows you," and I was like, "Oh, cool." So it's a very small world. Once you get out and start participating in it and getting to know people, I think that that's just super awesome. You get to do all sorts of fun things, and there's a great community. Hello in West Sacramento. What is my zodiac sign? I'm a Pisces. I'm a fish. I swim through it. swim through it to get to it. Hey, that's actually kind of a fun saying. This thing is saving my life today, just so you guys know. I needed this today. Just bought a van, now trying to figure out how to travel since I have normal stationary job. Hey, the best thing that you can do is take your time, get it kind of set up how you want it, and then just take it out on short little runs until you can figure out the details. You have the van, so that's the hard part. Now you just have to figure out how to make it work with what you're doing, and that happens over time. It doesn't have to have an immediate answer. So I think that that's the cool thing. Ah, Bus Life Pirates! I miss you guys too! Bus Life Pirates, Weird Wild West Bisbee next week. If you happen to be anywhere near Arizona, we would love to see ya. Just saying. They have a full schedule of events up on the Weird Wild West website, and it looks like some stuff that you might be interested in. I'm just saying. Just saying. It'll be a very unique, different kind of event. um, let's see. What time is it? 7:45 p.m. here. It is 12:33 here. I am in Central Time. And for anyone who has not yet seen my Bus Life Pirate friends, you need to go check them out. They just spent a lot of time in the wonderful, beautiful Baja area. And between them and the Lost Renegades, I will be going to Baja next year. I will. I will figure it out. I just am like, so mad that I didn't have my passport so I could go this year. Let's see. Hello from South Carolina. I love watching on YouTube. Very informative and fun. Yay! Thank you so much. I just watched a funny thing where so the guy who plays on The Hangover, who plays Alan, he is from North Carolina, and he was interviewed by a talk show host that's from South Carolina, and they were having it out over the North and South kind of battle that apparently exists mostly because of barbecue. And I had no idea this was like a real thing until they were very serious. And I was like, oh, wow. So their rivalry is like our Texas Oklahoma rivalry, except for ours is related to football. Hi from California. Hello. I will say this though, Karen. Being from Texas, where we also are a barbecue state, I have to disagree. But that doesn't mean that I don't like South Carolina barbecue. I do like it. It's just a different experience because it's a mustard based and it's just a little different. And Texas is just, I'm just saying, I'm partial to my state, but I like your food too. I am hoping though, somebody told me that I have to go, whenever I go back to Missouri, I have to go to Kansas City and I have to go to St. Louis and I have to get barbecue in both places and I have to compare them. And I'm kind of afraid because that is like a whole thing and I don't want a bunch of people coming on and being like, no. How long am I going to stay? How long are you going to stay in Baja next year? I have no idea. I just have to get down there. I would even be okay with staying for like a day if I could just say, hey, I was there. Is barbecue so different? Yes. Barbecue is very different in a lot of places. I have had, let's see, Texas barbecue, obviously. I have had barbecue in Missouri before, and it was very different than the barbecue I had in Texas. I have had South Carolina barbecue, which is a mustard base. I have had North Carolina barbecue, and it has a vinegar base, and I don't understand that one as much. It just makes the meat taste different. But it wasn't bad. It was different, but if I didn't think barbecue going into a bite, I would have been okay with it. But because I thought barbecue like I normally would eat, and so it just kind of made my brain not comprehend what I was eating. That's the weird part. Let's see. Barbecue cook-off festival, maybe sometime, possibly. I actually was a judge once on a barbecue festival because I worked for the local newspaper. And so I got to be a judge. It was super fun. They bring you like all these unmarked things. They don't tell you who made them. You just take a bite. You say, ooh, I liked this one, or ooh, I didn't like this. And then you score it based on a few things. And it was super fun. But I would want to do that again now, but film it. Also, if I am back in June, depending on where I am in June, If I am in Texas in June, I'm going to the Food Truck Championship. If I am not back, I will be at the GoPro Games. Do a barbecue video on the road. At some point, whenever I make it over that direction, I will. Want to caravan with a bunch of fun ladies? Sweet. That's been one of the coolest things I have found is little community on the road, because I think that community really does change the whole impact of how you travel. I love traveling by myself. I have a blast. But when I get together with friends, it's a different level. Will I be at Descend on Bend this year? I'm hoping so. I'm probably going to be in that area. Somebody said that it's in August. So if it's in August, I have to be in Bend in July. So that's at the end of the year, or not the end of the year. Oh my gosh, brain tired. It's at the end of the month, so I'm thinking I still will be in that area. So I need to look into like a ticket probably. Sorry, Diane, this is influential. Do I watch van lives? I've never watched their channel. They occasionally are like suggested to me, but it's always like while I'm doing other things. And I am a person who, when I watch a channel, especially if it's the first time, I need to focus because I have to make a judgment call on if this is going to be a channel I'm going to regularly consume. Because if it is, then I'm going to have to go and watch part of their story so I can find out a little bit more about them. It's the same complex that I have with watching TV shows before they have finished going off the air. If I start something, I have to finish it. That is a me thing. So, for example, I started watching Law and Order. I watched every episode, and it makes me so upset that now they're still putting out episodes, and now I have to wait for a weekly episode, and it makes me bonkers. Fortunately, a lot of their storylines don't bleed over into the next storyline, but sometimes they do. And so if there's ever a cliffhanger, I can't start the show. I just can't. So typically what I will do is I will listen to people around me who are like, oh my gosh, you got to watch this. And then I will let them tell me enough to pique my interest. And then I will look into it and then I'll just kind of put it on the back burner until I know I can watch all of it. Because I don't need to start something that I can't finish. I had to wait to watch Power until it was completely over. And every single one, let me just tell you, Facebook is the worst place on earth because people spoil things all the time. So I kept seeing Power updates, and I finally got to where I would block the word Power because I wanted to watch the show and I didn't want to know what all happened. So I blocked the word Power because people kept going in and telling me what was going on. So finally, when it was all over, I bought the DVD set. Now I can watch it. And so I've been kind of watching it kind of as I go. I have the DVDs in the back actually. So I'm hoping that I can finish that series while I'm traveling pretty soon. Oh, thank you so much. This is just one of my fun shirts, my little fun branding shirts. And on the back it says, Bunny Plays Here. I'm forever waiting for the next series of Stranger Things. Okay, so I just got an update about Stranger Things, and I was just like, what? Apparently, they're going to tell about how old somebody is and when they were born. And I'm just like, oh, no, 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 no. I can't hear this until I watch it, all of it. I stopped after 2 seasons because I couldn't fathom waiting again. So I was like, after 2 seasons, I'm not going to watch it until it's completely, and then I'm going to watch the rest of it. Hello, Bunny Nation, South Jersey in the house. Yes. I do not like when I get hooked on a show and it gets canceled. Thank you. That is exactly my thoughts, which is part of the reason why I want to know if it has a completion point before I start watching it. So typically people will tell you if it has a completion or if they're mad about how it ended. For example, I never watched Seinfeld. I mean, I've seen it like in passing, but I've never sat down to commit to watch the whole thing because people said the ending was so weird. And I was like, I don't want to be sucked in and then just be like, oh, that's it. I hate that feeling. That feeling is horrible. There's been a couple of other shows that I have watched just because I've liked like the concept of them, only to be very disappointed by the fact that they just like left me there. Alf. Alf was a childhood show that I loved, and then they left me hanging. And that's what I blame for all of this. And I know it's hard, like, it's got to be super hard to write a show, first of all, and then also to know that that show is going to have longevity so you can get another show season, but then also to, like, have all these people weighing in. Like, for example, there was one theory that one of the writers from Friends shared, and she said that a fan had had this theory and they had put it out on the internet and apparently gained some traction and people thought it was real, so she was debunking it. And she said that at the end they thought that they should have made it where Phoebe the entire time has been manifesting and making up all of what has happened around her because she's really homeless on a corner just playing smelly cat and she's crazy. And I thought, what? But the whole story behind it, they went into like elaborate detail. She said they had figured out all of the parallels where it had connected during different episodes as to kind of tell you that this was happening. And I was like, wow, somebody had too much time on their hand because they didn't like the ending and they created this whole fictitious crazy world. And it made sense. Like, what? Like, another one that they have as a popular, like, theory as to how they're going to wrap up Grey's Anatomy is that the entire time that we've been seeing all of these crazy events happen, it's really because Meredith has truly actually lost her mind as an Alzheimer's person following in the footsteps of her mother. And she's concocting all of these fake realities. And that's how some fans think that the show should end, is revealing this, because all these bad things that happened to her. And I was like, what? Don't do me like that. If I watched this entire show and that is how it ended, I would be so mad. I am all for a Sixth Sense kind of twist. I don't want that in my TV shows. I do not. I want a happy little bow of conclusion so that I can say goodbye to the characters that I've been binge watching and cry my little tears of that's it, and then be done. I found Wentworth Prison had annoying ending and no more series. Did anyone ever watch How I Met Your Mother? I don't remember if they ever told us how they met. I did not watch that, but I found out after that there is a secret number in every single episode. So there's like a count in every episode. There is a counting thing of some kind. And that was one of their little Easter eggs. It's kind of like in Seinfeld where they had the Superman was in every single episode in some capacity. So I wanted to watch it just for that, but then I thought if I get into the whole series, then I waste all of this life again to maybe or maybe not like the ending. Joan of Arcadia for me was one made you so mad. I haven't watched that one. Have a wonderful day, Bunny. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. 91 years of life to celebrate. Ooh, hidden buttons over here. That's why I don't watch most movies' dumb endings, leave you clueless and mad. That's why mostly on YouTube. I understand that. I think that there are a lot of movies that are very interpretive, and sometimes they bring you along for the ride, and it makes sense to kind of just like leave it. And then sometimes it's just like that's it. I just wasted an hour and a half of my life, and that's it. In fact, there was a movie that I watched pretty recently. It was just like some B movie or something. It was on TV, and I had it on in the background while I was editing. And as I'm doing this, yes, Joe, I'm still live. As I'm doing this, though, I noticed that the movie itself was slow. So I was like, okay, it's kind of slow. This is perfect for me to edit because I don't have to pay super close attention. And it's just super slow. When it got to the end, I still felt like there was a lot of movie explaining that needed to be done, but that was it. That was the whole thing. And I was like, why would people have gone to see this? Like, why? Like, why? Oh, and I can only imagine from the perspective of someone who is actually physically in those movies that would have to be very frustrating to have those kind of responses from people like us who are not affiliated with them. But at the same time, I'm just like, if I thought this, other people are probably thinking this too. Like, why? My wife and I are new subscribers. Yay! Oh my gosh, she just bought an NV200. NV200 dance. NV200 dance. Yes. It's kind of a weird dance, but it's my NV200 dance. Let's see. I'd like an NV200. Eddie, you have a Renault Kangoo. What? Oh, is that like the... Okay, so I've seen a Renault on... What channel is that? There's a channel in the UK that has a Renault. I don't remember who it is. I don't get to watch it very often because it doesn't pop up in my feed, even though I'm subscribed to them. Again, YouTube, thanks. Now we're getting to this point. Yay! So I was right. It's in the UK. Yay! I always get confused. So there are a group of different SUVs that are basically the same SUV, and they have different names. UK, United States, Australia. They look exactly the same. And they're basically like a Ford Transit Connect. But they all look identical, but they have different names. So they're probably manufactured realistically by the same company. But what about? But yeah, exactly about the size of Connect. Let us know if I'm coming through Colorado soon. We'll be here in a minute. Yes, I am going to be there in June. Actually, I'm going up to Vail to the GoPro games. At least I think I am. As of right now, I think I'm going to the GoPro games. It should be fun. Although okay, so if you guys haven't seen the GoPro games before, the GoPro mountain games are not anything like anything I've seen before. I was watching because Mountain House, again, sponsoring, one of the little sponsors, and so they were asking if any of us wanted to compete. So I'm like, what kind of events do they have? Is this something I could do? I tell you, I have never clicked on a video and gone, what? So fast. No, I will not be competing. I do not see athleticism like that in my body. Not even whenever I was more athletic. Those people are beasts. They have mountain biking, they have kayaking, they have running. They have this one thing where they were just like running up a straight hill. I was like, what? The one thing that I could say that might be of interest would be a mud run, but I don't like to get that dirty, to be realistic. So I just don't see me competing, but I'm really excited about seeing, yes, what this person said, the dogs at the GoPro game. So they have an entire like doggy Olympics that they do, super, super fun. So when I saw that, I was just like, I need to go. And then I also want to see all these other people who are just like beasts doing all these cool things and just be in awe of all these amazing people. So I think it'd just be super fun. Let's see. Yes, Kim, that is probably what I'm seeing are those. And then also there is a Japanese company that has come out with some very compact, cool things lately. I like to watch those RV shows that are coming out of Japan because they show you these things that are literally they're Transformers. They're Transformers. I don't care. They are Transformers. You can take this tiny little compact thing like the size of my van, and then it has this pull out and this pop up, and it makes it into like a RV that is bigger than a big RV that you buy on the market. And I'm just like, why do we not have those? Like, I could see so many people finding value in those. And of course, I don't know how the whole import export thing works when it comes to vehicles. And I don't know why certain dealers focus on certain things. But if they were to bring over some of those, they're super fuel efficient. A lot of those are already dual fuel or like where you can do like electric and gas, so hybrids. But yeah, that'd be crazy. There would be so many smaller RVs out there, and I'm sure they'd probably still charge an arm and a leg, but like that would be a very efficient direction to move in for people who don't want something that's massive. How am I feeling today? Really, I'm good. Other than congestion from allergies. Welcome to Texas. Let's see. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, I was going to tell you guys about something else. I was going to start my live while I was still in the drive-thru. I've mentioned this on Patreon a while back. I am very paranoid about Starbucks drive-thrus. Weird story here. So typically whenever you go to Starbucks, you know, you go into the store, you drive through, no big deal. But they like to do this thing called pay it forward, where somebody in front of you pays for yours and it keeps going. And they get these really long lines of people who are all paying for each other's coffee. And typically, I avoid that at all costs for a good reason, though. So I remember whenever before I had started traveling and stuff like that, really, I was just a regular everyday person, walk into a Starbucks, get my coffee. Anyway, one day I wanted to go through the drive thru. Went through the drive thru. They had one of these long lines of people who were all paying it forward. Cool. Except for the fact that there's a difference between this cup of coffee and like $50 worth of coffee. Just saying. So I had gotten up to the window and somebody said, "Oh, they paid for your coffee. Would you like to pay for the next person's coffee?" And in my mind, because I would love to be that person, I wanted to be the generous human who's like, "Yes." But in my realistic mind, I knew that I had a very small budget. I wasn't getting paid like anytime soon. And so I knew that it was going to be one of those things where I could afford one coffee to splurge, but I couldn't afford a huge order of coffee. So I asked how much it was, and they told me this price point that was ridiculous because it was more than one coffee. It was like food plus coffee and stuff. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to break the chain because now I feel pressure. But at the same time, I can't afford their coffee. I can't. And so I felt bad, and I wanted to say, could I just pay for what my coffee was toward their bill? But they don't do that. And so I was super, super like overwhelmed. And ever since then, I have always had this like phobia of going through the drive-through line. I went through the drive-through line today, just because I noticed there was no one else in the line. But that's typically what now crosses my mind. It's not that I don't want to be generous. It's not that I don't want to be like a person who's helping each other out, because I love that. And I frequently will do nice things for people. But the pressure that comes from the Starbucks line mentally to me now, it's just like it starts a panic attack before I even get in the line. Like, really. I know it sounds silly, but it does. And so I think that it's a great concept. I think that people helping each other out, paying for each other's coffee is awesome. However, when you are that person who can't then be the person to keep the line going, it's a horrible feeling on the inside, because then you feel kind of like a failure, and it's just like a bad thing. So as a PSA from me to you guys, please, please, please don't feel bad if you can't pay for somebody's coffee. Because the more that I've thought about this and the more I've internalized it, the place that I was at in life at that time didn't need that kind of bad juju of how I felt afterwards. I didn't. I needed all positive, and I didn't have enough of it at the time. So whenever I felt that way, it made me feel really bad. And that's not what that's supposed to be for. It's supposed to be there to make people feel good. So I took on all of that bad on my own. I didn't have to. I could have just said, I can't today, sorry, and broke the chain. But instead, I took it on. So if you're ever in that position and you feel uncomfortable, don't worry about it. It is not on you to push forward something that makes you in a bad place then. It's okay to have that moment to say, I can't do this. And that's okay. And I know that a lot of people look at that and say, well, if you couldn't do that, then why did you go to Starbucks in the first place? There's a huge difference between one coffee and $50 to $100 worth of items. Just saying. And if you are a person who has ever looked at somebody who has said that, shame on you. Let's see. Pay it forward. Soccer, well, mommies and Range Rovers paying for each other. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just that. I think there's a lot of people who do it, and it's really wonderful. I know that at our local Starbucks that's like closer to me, it's like 20 miles away from my house, they have a little line every so often. It really does brighten people's day. But at the same time, we don't know each other's situations. We can't pretend that we do. So one person might have allocated that this is the only thing that they can buy for an entire month, and it's their treat day, and they've gone there to get their one coffee, and then that pressure fell on them. And that's not fair. That's not their burden. So Joe is catching up right now. She says the puppet dog was too funny. I agree. I go in a coffee shop whenever I am able. I dislike drive-through lines very much. I do as well. I wanted to do this today because I wanted to sit out here and have a little chit chat with you guys, so I justified it. But typically I do go inside simply because I also use the Wi-Fi at Starbucks because it is amazing. Someone bought me scones and coffee one time. I have never been asked if I wanted to pay it forward. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think that that's the other thing is this Starbucks, I think, had a very long line going of people who were paying it forward, and they were like riding the wave of pay it forward. And so I think that's part of why it made me feel so bad is that I was disrupting this chain that had been going on for most of the day, I think. Let's see. It's okay to say no and realize your limitations. Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, we need to like normalize that people are realizing their limitations. I think that part of the reason why, especially when we talk as like a group of us all together as nomads, one of the things that we talk about is the fact that we're trying to get out and have freedom and do things like that. It is because a lot of times we've been pushed over our limitations. A lot of times we're fed up. We're tired. We are overworked. We are underpaid. We're underappreciated. And so by the time that we get out and have that moment, we are accepting the fact that we cannot control others, but we can control what we do. And so that is part of us figuring out our personal bubble of limitations, what we are good with, what we are not good with. And so it's something that I always encourage you guys to do if you are considering getting on the road, is think about the things that you want to accomplish and think about the steps that it'll take you to get there and what are your hard no's and what are your hard yeses. So whenever you're building your rig, if you have to have, for example, one of my must-haves is I knew that I wanted to be able to camp wherever I wanted to. So I needed an actual toilet that flushed because in some areas there are restrictions against other kinds of toilets. You must have something that has a tank. And so I knew that a toilet was a must for me personally. Know lots of people who don't have toilets like a traditional toilet, like a flushing toilet like I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that was one of my hard I must-haves based on what I like to do in my travel. I also knew that I needed something that would be very fuel efficient. So that was my must. I had to sacrifice standing because I had a must. So I think that it's kind of like the same thing. We figure out what is our limits on what we're willing to endure, what our limits of what we're not willing to endure are, and it works out with van life too. Let's see. I like McDonald's. I go there for the black coffee. McDonald's has crack in a cup is what I call it. That coffee is like, ooh, when I have McDonald's coffee, it is strong and I like it, but it's not one of those that I'm going to drink like every single day. That's for sure. If I did, I would just be like, ooh, ooh. And coffee usually does not affect me like that. Let's see. I've declined to pay it forward later. There is no time frame to brighten a day. Absolutely. Sounds complicated. Glad I don't drink coffee. Too much pressure. You know, they also do it at other places too. I've noticed that there are people who are saying that people are doing it at Chick-fil-A. I've had a person say that they had it happen at their local like drive-through like restaurant. And I get it. People just want to be nice sometimes. And I appreciate people being nice. Again, I like to be nice. But again, like you just said, there's no limitations on brightening somebody's day. You can do it in many different ways. My absolute personal favorite is just greeting people with a kind smile. That sometimes can brighten somebody's day more than buying them coffee even. I've been surprised by how many people have just been excited about the fact that someone acknowledged them in life because they just kind of go through floating under the radar, and that's sad. Do 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 do. Sometimes you do it because you have extra couple bucks. Yeah, I think that that's the thing. Like, if you are in a position that you can do something nice for somebody, whatever it is, you can. It's your choice, though. And it's one of those things that I think also, for example, at Christmas time, a lot of times they have like the angel trees and stuff like that. Doing something nice for somebody who may not be able to do that is amazing. It's so, so kind. At the same time, though, you have a lot of people who try to micromanage that and say, well, this is the better toy and this is what you should have done. Like, no, just let people be nice to one another. If somebody wants to do something, let them do it. Oh, thank you so much for coming by the live. I'll be the one to break the chain for the Guinness Book of Records. Oh, let's see. The allergies are pretty legit though, guys. I must say, every time around this time of year, it's just like, oh. Sometimes, because some think it's flirting, I say hi with a smile. I mean, I think that hello and a smile is the greatest thing that you can ever give the world, because most people look grumpy, especially whenever you see somebody who's really stuck in what it is that they think or what it is that they're doing, and they're just not satisfied with their life at that moment. You can see it on their face. They just look. And so you going up to them may not change their world, but who knows? They might be having like the worst day on earth, and just seeing somebody being nice to them could be something that changes the trajectory of where they're going for the day. Acknowledged and holding the door for someone? Yes, absolutely. Today I had a man who I was at Best Buy, and the doors opened up, and he paused so I could go in first, and I said thank you, and he smiled when I said thank you. And I think that just exchanges like that can make the world a little bit better place. Just being kind to one another. It's not hard to do little things. Little things go a long way. Little things have a bigger overall impact than the grand gestures that people try to put together to inflate. Um, I think that just small things we can do literally daily. Telling the cashier at the store that you're at, have a good day, or thank you. Those are big things. Those are big things, because there are dozens of people who come through that line who don't say those things. Just saying. If there is anything that we learned during the year of craziness that we all engaged in, there are essential workers out there who work super, super hard, most of the time completely unnoticed, completely behind the scenes, and they get no thank yous. And so we should thank them. They're working. They're doing stuff that we depend on. And so yes, acknowledging people is important. Hello, hello, hello. And then a little smiley face. Ooh, ooh, ooh. One of these days, because I'm not on my laptop right now, I can't use StreamYard. I want to use StreamYard though, because I have some cool things. I am going to try to put together my own set of emojis just to be silly. Place of thank you goes a long way. Absolutely, it absolutely does. I know that whenever I am out and about and I see people, I'm a people watcher. I like people watching a lot. It's just something interesting to me. I feel it's fascinating to see what I call people in the wild. And so you'll see a lot of people who do acknowledge people and are kind, and then you see a lot of people who just aren't. And that's a them problem, but it projects out onto everyone when it's a them problem. Because if you have somebody who is a sourpuss and they're just like, meh, and everything that they say is meh, then all the people around them who are having to deal with them are now having to deal with meh, and that puts that meh in their mind too. And that's not cool. Like, it's a ripple. We all, and I've said this a million times, we all have a ripple. And our goal is to make our ripple positive instead of negative, because everything we do impacts others. And so if, for example, me, I'm a YouTuber. If I go out into the world and I record a video to share with you guys, and I am, and I'm not having fun, and I'm not enjoying myself, and I'm very much a Debbie Downer, then whenever you guys watch that, that doesn't just tell you about me because I recorded the video. It also casts a bad shadow on the place that I was, even though the place might have been awesome. It was a me thing. But now you have a negative impact feel from the place because I was in a bad mood. And that's stupid. Like, that means that you might not go there as a result of me just being meh. And that's not okay. And I think that that's a good example of how it works, because when we look at it in those terms, it makes sense. But what we don't think about is the fact that every day we all have that impact. If I go to the grocery store and I'm in a bad mood, I'm having a bad hair day, I'm just grumpy because something didn't go my way, and I put my stuff up on the conveyor belt and I don't speak at all to the person, I'm rude. And now that's their impression of who I am, and that's going to impact their day, because if they're a person who overthinks things, well, why were they rude to me? Did I do something wrong? And then they're going to continue that throughout the day. And then that's going to weigh over into other things that they do as they overthink things or are upset by the fact that I was rude. So we need to think of others a little bit more. I have severe social anxiety, but when I do, I have to, people try not to be, I mean, yeah, I think that that's the thing. We have to challenge ourselves. And sometimes it's hard to challenge yourself to kind of push through some of the weird things that happen. I mean, there are days when we have a bad day. I mean, I'm here too. I'm normal. I have bad days too. Um, on those days, my thought is if I'm having such a bad day that I can't make myself just be like, okay, I'm going to push through this, I need to retract. I need to retract so I can evaluate. And then I need to go forth after I have evaluated so that I don't push that off onto somebody else. Because again, it's not their problem. It's not their problem that I'm having a bad day. And so there are instances where it's harder to do that. For example, if you have a problem with a bill and you have to call customer service and they have royally screwed something up, I have very strong words that I will use toward people that have screwed up something. At the same time, I have to let them know, I know this is not your problem. I'm frustrated at the situation, not at you. If I come across rash, I'm sorry. It is not directed at you. It is directed at the frustration of this particular incident. For example, I had some issues a while back with one of my editing software programs. I had to call customer support. I had been to the point where I was about to scream. Like, we were mad. We were like so frustrated. We being me. And I was sitting there and I was like, I gotta get fixed. I'm about to take off on the road. Why did this have to happen? What's going on? Ah! Normal stuff. So I call, and the first thing I get is the person, and I say, I know this is not your problem, so I'm sorry if I sound very angry. I am not angry with you. I am angry at the incident, and I don't want you to feel as though I am coming across as rude to you. I am just so frustrated. And the woman was like, I understand. Let's get this handled. And just by me saying that to her, it made her instantly go from this person is just mean to, I get it. You're not trying to push this off on me. So I think that that's the thing that we have to acknowledge is that if we push off onto others, why would they want to be nice to us in return? They won't. And at the same time, like, why would we push that onto somebody else when it's not their problem? There's two parts on that. So a little bit goes a long way. Let's see. I just have 2 pairs of shoes. Hi. I have several, but I'm overkill on everything with those. Like me, you seem like a leader. I don't do anything. Oh no, they went away. I don't do anything to go along with the crowd. Maybe another day I would start the pay it forward if I could. I think that being in kind of our own lane is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, I like to participate in things if I know it's helping others and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to like go within your bounds. And knowing your bounds is a big deal. It really is. It's no different than knowing your budget. If you have a budget, you know how much money you have to spend. That is how much money you have to spend. It should not be any different with your own boundaries. If these are your boundaries, you shouldn't be willing to sacrifice your personal boundaries, which make you feel okay about you. There's a difference between pushing your boundaries by doing things that are like extreme sports and stuff like that, and your physical I can and cannot do's. So, let's see. It's okay that you're late. You made it just the same. Let's see. Okay. Have you got negative people along the way? I mean, you show positive. I mean, sure, everybody gets some negative stuff. I mean, there are so many people who want to give advice. Let's just put it that way. And it's unsolicited advice. A lot of people want to criticize or tell you what you are or are not doing. A lot of people want to poke at you because you don't do it how they would do it. I mean, that's fine. All of those things. I have always said on this channel, and I've said this in my comment section also when I've had some negativity. There are hundreds of thousands of channels on the internet. You can find any of them. This is how I do my personal channel. If it is not your cup of tea, that is okay. I'm not offended by the fact that you don't want to watch my videos. Also, I'm not offended if I am not your cup of tea, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that is okay. I think that trying to prove that you are everyone's cup of tea ends up making you no one's cup of tea, because then you lose your authenticity in yourself, and you become a shell of who you are. And then therefore you're no longer being organically who you are, and instead you're catering to others. And I think that that's a problem, because then you lose that sense of self. And I spent a long time working for other people where I had to do things the way that they wanted to do it, because it's their company and their business, and that is perfectly fine. That's a regular job. But in this being my business, I now get to set those bounds. And my bounds for myself are that I will wake up every day and I will be myself. And if I'm having a day where I need to work a little harder to be myself because I'm grumpy, that's fine. But that's the whole thing, is we have to set who we are and our priorities toward that. And so negative naysayers, oh well, if they want to be negative, that's on them. That is them reacting to try to get you to react. That's all that is. And in those cases, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. And there's plenty of other channels that you can watch. And I don't mean it in like a weird way, but I mean, in reality, that's the truth. I don't want someone to dull my shine, because I am not going to change who I am just based off of their comments. I'm not doing anything wrong. Let's see. There's also a difference, though, between constructive criticism and regular criticism. And in those cases, I think, like, for example, if you have someone who puts out a product and their product looks very, very good, and they give you constructive feedback, that is a completely different situation than somebody just saying, "Oh, you're ugly." Okay, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Or I love people who also, there is a so I post over on Newsbreak as well. Newsbreak has a very different audience than YouTube does. I usually just cross post so that you have coverage on both. There's a lot of people on there who are extremely negative and derogatory toward all creators, just every person that they see on there. And there's no way that you can block them the same way that you can block those negative interactions on YouTube by trigger words and things like that. So they know that, so they're very rude. And so I have one person who continues to come to my page, and every video says, "Are you trans?" Like, what? First of all, and I go through a lot of different things with this. One, why does it matter to you? You're watching a news video. Two, no, I am not. But that is a you problem, that you feel like you need to ask that to every single video a person posts. Three, like, and this is a controversial yet brave comment to make. If I were, does that change the value of the content that I put out? No, it does not. So instead of being rude to people, just don't. There's no point. So what I do instead is I just block and report this person, because he's doing it to mass harass people. But at the same time, I think it's funny, because that also goes to show that he doesn't pay attention to anything that I do and bases all of his comments on my hair. That's it. That's the only thing he bases it off of. And so it's funny to me, because that, again, is a him problem. And there's a lot of people who aren't willing to accept the fact that a woman can have short hair. And that's a very antiquated belief, which, again, if you watch enough of my channel, you'll understand that is not something that we do here on the channel. We don't judge people. We don't look at people as though they are lesser than. We don't talk smack to people. You know, it's just crazy to me to find that there are those kind of people on the internet as well. Yes, him's got big problems. Oh, it's healthy response. Yes. I think that authenticity is the best thing that you can do. And anyone, again, who has followed along or who has just joined on my channel has known I've had this hair forever and ever, and that has not stopped me from anything I've done in life. Like anything. I had this short hair while I worked for a professional sports team. Um, Clearly, your hair does not define who you are as a human. And I think that it's just so funny that people automatically think that. It's kind of like the thing we talked about on the last live, where people automatically assume that because you have a certain kind of job that you must be a certain kind of way. No, I am a YouTuber. that does not mean that I'm a lazy human. It means that I work on my own, and it's hard work, but it's different work than most people do, so you don't understand it. But those are the comments that you get. So the criticism conversation is hilarious to me because, again, I just kind of float through life, not harming anyone. And then people will come up and they really want to die on the hill of being an angry, bitter human on my page of all pages. Everybody's wanting Starbucks now. I'm so sorry. I was a poor influence today. Treat yourself. Go get Starbucks. Just saying. I almost went to Dunkin's today because I was over by a Dunkin's earlier and I was like, oh, Dunkies. I haven't had Dunkies in a while. And the traffic was so bad trying to get over there. I was like, nope, nope. There's a Starbucks on the way out of town. I'll just go there. Hello, Jody. Hi, hi, hi. Daniel, I agree. People are judgmental. And the interesting thing about it is, if we all judge one another all the time, based on our personal standard of whatever it is that we're judging them on, none of us have the same personal standard. So all we're going to do is create this like argumentative, like nasty, bleh kind of moment instead of just saying, you know what, let's agree that we all can be different and that's okay. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, if you want to wear, for example, I think this is so funny. I saw there was a guy who was ripping on his male friend because he wore a pink polo shirt. And he was saying all these nasty things to him because he was wearing a pink polo shirt. I know a lot of top executives who wear pink polo shirts. There's nothing wrong with a pink polo shirt. It doesn't indicate that you are a certain kind of way just because you are wearing a pink polo shirt. Jason Momoa wears pink suits and loves them, and he's Aquaman. Come on, guys. But I just think it's funny because each person's dynamic is different. For example, this guy was horribly offended by his friend wearing a pink shirt. That's one level right there. But at the same time, like, his friend was just like, I like the shirt. It feels good. Like, so his taste and this guy's taste were different. And that's what it should have been left at, is we have different taste. I am not going to wear the same thing that you were going to wear, and that's fine. But instead, he was just so upset that his friend was wearing this, and then he was going to have to be associated with him because he wore this pink polo shirt, that it caused some kind of like issue within him. Like, what? Like, and that's on an elevated scale of what happens in our world every day. Absolutely, Jason Momoa is a hottie. I told Riley whenever we were traveling some, and Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet had split, and he had started traveling in his little travel trailer. I was like, ooh, ooh, if we ever see that travel trailer, I don't want to fangirl him, but it would be cool if we happened to be in the same place at the same time. I'm just saying. You just want to look at him. I got, I'm plugging my phone in because we're getting the death 10%. Let's see if we can get this. I'm only going to stay on for a little bit longer. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me now? Okay. Anyway, according to, if we were to all go off of what people tell us we should be in order to be feminine or masculine or the perfect woman or the perfect man, we wouldn't be happy. And the reason why is because, like, people all have such a different understanding of what that should be, and there's no one common consensus because we're all different people. If I listened to everything people told me, I would not be traveling the world in a van. I would be probably still married, not happy, but married, but I would be doing what society told me to do. And They would rather have people who are very unhappy with their lives, who are just following into the cog of what's going on, than to have people who are trying to seek out something that at least brings them joy. And I think joy is more important than anything. It's proven, in fact, through several scientific studies, that people who are joyous, people who are outgoing, people who get out there and do things that they want to do, live longer and healthier lives. They have less complications in health overall, and their stress levels are down considerably, so they are at lower risk of heart attacks. And those facts in themselves, especially knowing that I was in a lifestyle where I was nonstop going and I was always stressed out and it had negatively affected my health, to see the difference between where I was before I started this and where I am now when it comes to perceive life. And I don't have to feel all the time like I'm just in a rat race of trying to keep up or living paycheck to paycheck. And I think that that's the thing that everyone ultimately wants to achieve. It took time to get here, but I think that it went off of the fact that I wasn't willing to just let one definition of who I could be dictate who I am. And so that's my little soapbox. As for the sound, I don't know what happened. Whenever I plugged the phone in, it took away the sound. So that's still an ongoing struggle with me and Dimples here. Oh, but that does shorten the lifespan of our chat just a bit because now I can't plug in while we're chatting. I don't think there truly is a normal. I don't either. I think that normal is one word and it has one definition. But how is it that a whole bunch of people from completely different places, different thought processes, different backgrounds could all be applied to one word with one definition? There's no way. So I think that it's a dissatisfying feeling to think that you have to be normal the same way somebody else has to be normal. And so instead, I think that we should all just kind of like get out there and find what works. And if we have a neighbor who's different than us, it's okay. As long as it's kind of like the thing, as long as somebody's not doing you harm, don't worry about it. If somebody's doing you harm, yeah, pitch a stink, have a problem. And doing harm doesn't mean it's an inconvenience that you don't like. And that's the other thing people need to understand. Just because somebody's doing something that you don't like doesn't make them wrong. This is why the last 2 years have been so devastating for so many. It separated people and kept them from doing what they enjoy. I agree. I also agree, though, that it's also been good for people to some extent. And hear me out on this. A lot of families had to spend time as a family. I said what I said. They did. By having to spend time as a family, they had to do things differently. And by having to do things differently, they've been able to take note of the things that were and were not working, and they've had to address some of those without any assistance from the people around them who typically distract from that. For example, when the kids all went home from school, parents had to be in a room with their child all day long. And I'm not saying that that's like a bad thing, but there's a lot of people who cracked because of that, because they weren't prepared for that, because they spend a small amount of time with their kids, but now they had to spend all day with them. And they could realize that they have behavioral issues, or they could realize that their kid is a lot. And so some of those people went forth and were like, I'm appreciative of the fact that schools deal with my child, and I need to work on these things because I don't want to deal with this. And then others kind of went the opposite direction. My thought, though, is by families having to be in one place, there are a lot of people who actually got out there and started doing things as a family, things that they'd never done before. I've met a lot of people who were on the road who, during all of the stuff that was going on, purchased an RV and they got out there with their kids and they're teaching their kids about stuff that's going on in the real world through our national park system, through the trail system, through the forest system, and they're learning stuff that they never would have been able to do because it just wasn't something that their family did. So I think there's a blessing and a curse to the things that have happened within the last couple of years. And so I think that that's the thing that as we kind of look at it, um, it's one of those things where we can like learn from the past and make a better tomorrow, like I always say. And as we are learning from those things that people have kind of experienced, now they can say, oh, being around my family, I enjoyed having this time. Now we should do this more often. Or, oh, this didn't work for us because of X, Y, or Z factors. Now we need to work on that. And so I'm hoping that that's what people take away from it, because ultimately we can't change what has happened, but we can change how we react going forward. There's always good within the bad. Yes, absolutely. Introduced you to Zoom and YouTube. See, there's a lot of cool things that have come out of it. And a lot of the technology has changed because people were having to work from home. A lot of people have realized now that they can work from home where they never thought they could. Companies are finding that people were actually sometimes more efficient by doing that. And they were definitely more happy. And the diversity is the fun. Yes, robots are boring to hang out. Let's see. I am going to. Sorry, guys, we need to block that one. Don't block people very often, but again, we talked about we're not going to be rude to one another. No, we are not. Let's see. I agree though. Diversity is definitely more fun. I think that that's part of what powers me into the places that I go with people that I go with. I like to go to diverse groups of places with different kinds of people that may or may not have been to those same experiences before. And whenever we go, we each have a different experience. Then we get to recap that experience all together. And then we see kind of through the other person's eyes, through their take of what they experienced, kind of how much difference that we really do have. And also what common things that we possess as similarities in how we absorb things and how we do things. And so that's kind of cool for me. That's why I like traveling with others sometimes. Let's see. The chat is being weird. It just hopped. There we go. The sound is messing up again. Oh no. Can you guys hear me? Somebody just said the sound is messed up again. No! It is a sign though. My phone is about to die. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Again, I just wanted to check in with everybody and let you guys know that I was okay. I will have a couple of videos coming out. The next video will be the one that stemmed on the other one being finished. So the next two videos go together, but they are very, very, very big pieces of the puzzle of what I will be traveling with for the next several months. No more big projects at base camp after these are up on the channel. So, yay! Also, if you guys are interested in finding out a little bit more about the Weird Wild West, please go and check it out. It is next week. So that is where I'm going to be going after I leave base camp. I will be going to Arizona. It is a festival that will be for a few days. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. There are some amazing people who are going to be there. I know from my group, I know for a fact that Riley's going to be there and Dee's going to be there. So if you happen to go, find us, say hello, and yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. But after that, I'll probably do another live after Bisbee so I can kind of update you on the gutted event that I'm going to. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to finish up my Starbucks and I'm going to head back to base camp because I need to get my batteries all charged before I leave out. So, Janice, it is called Weird Wild West. It is in Bisbee, Arizona. Have a great Easter. Yes, you guys too. Be very careful. I know that anytime that there's a holiday weekend, more people are out and about traveling, so be very safe. And if you are on the road, holidays are always a good time to just kind of button down at a local place. That way you're not out and about with as many people. That's usually what I do. Never change. We love you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And again, I always say this, but I'm going to say it as I sign off. You guys are the best part of the channel. Thank you so much. Guys, bye!